My wife constantly tells me to land the plane when I get long-winded. Today, I will be landing the plane on a mission that I've been on this entire year on this podcast and in my newsletters, which is to fully outline the complexity of why 70% of the global workforce, especially here in America, are disengaged. 70% of our population involves quiet quitters, loud quitters, actual quitters, the chronically stressed out, and the millions who are burned out. This epidemic of discontentment is not just at work and with work, it carries over into every aspect of our lives. Work and life cannot be compartmentalized because we are whole humans. The majority of this world has lost their joy with how we are spending our time in our waking hours, most of it working. This is a problem for the culture at large, and my passion is to help restore hope and purpose, one person at a time. My initial assessment a few years ago remains consistent with my observations today. We cannot lean solely on institutions to fix the problem of burnout. Kudos to the few organizations improving their culture and valuing the health of their employees. But solving burnout is personal. Living a fulfilling life is personal. Living a life of purpose is personal. Being content with life as a whole takes intentionality. When it comes to our well-being, we have choices. We all have the ability to realign our personal and professional lives back to how we were designed to show up. This choice is not a magic wand of a perfect life. The choice to live well requires showing up daily with intentionality to shine our unique light. Showing up requires time, and to do that, we must first fully interrogate how we are spending our time. When we improve our relationship with time, we can have a better relationship with others, with ourselves, with our work, and with God. To spend our time well and to receive fulfillment, we must know our purpose. This is why I started my 2024 mission centering around purpose. This was last January. And if we don't know our specific purpose, we remain lost and incredibly unsatisfied with anything we try to do in life. So I want to quickly recap this past year. The themes of this podcast by month were as follows: purpose, passion, growth, organization and planning, identity, boundaries, vision, rest, change management, values, freedom. In addition to those themes, also talked heavily on the subjects of technology and AI, exercise and sleep, family, mental health, authenticity, and stress management. And even with all these factors that go into a life of purpose and balance and freedom, I've still not dived deep into the main point of this mission. The main mission of Own Your 5 to 9 is about time. And to land the plane today in 2024, you guessed it, it's about time. Time and purpose are the bookends to everything that I've put out there and why we are here. When we know our why, we know our way. And when we know our way, every day becomes a gift, an opportunity to live, to release the stress, to achieve, and to embrace the abundance of living fully. You are listening to the Work Life Eubiosis podcast with your host, Charleston Edwards. If this is your first time here, welcome. My goal is simple: to eradicate burnout and to bring harmony, purpose, and balance to this world, starting with the family. My hope is that this show and the story shared will provide encouragement and ideas that will be valuable to you on your journey to work-life freedom. So let's dive into today's episode. In 2009, I was fired from a project for stealing. I didn't steal money, but I stole time. I overcommitted myself, and I took on multiple projects simultaneously that required more time than what I actually had. Being fired sent me into a state of shame and embarrassment and guilt that lasted for years. It was a life lesson that has continued to be foundational to how I approach work now, 15 years later. In 2009, I didn't know how to say no. I didn't know how to delegate. I didn't know anything about boundaries that I could implement at work. I thought I could juggle everything. My goal was to add to my bank account and my resume. Being young and naive, and maybe a tad bit greedy, I was doing what society had trained me to do unapologetically, which is to achieve. To achieve at a young age means to enter the workforce and to start climbing the ladder. This is not bad. The workforce is important for building capital and finding our unique purpose in this world. However, it's not a place to embezzle time. Being focused solely on achievement leads many of us to the practice of embezzling time. For me, being caught compromising my contract with the client was a wake-up call to the importance of knowing my quota. When is enough actually enough? That goes for money, time, energy, task, obligations. I've now learned the hard way that when the world says do more when I'm at capacity, the response needs to go through a filter of questions. Do I actually have the time? Who or what gets compromised if I say yes? If my yes or no actually is in alignment with my God-given calling and purpose in this situation and season? Am I supposed to be doing this? And if so, what needs to be adjusted? Everyone will have a different answer to these questions, and that's the beauty of our diversity of purposes. I didn't have these questions in my tool belt back then, but I'm so grateful for the wisdom today. Stealing time exposed a heart condition that I didn't even know that I had until I was caught red-handed, trying to do it all. We live in a red-handed do-it-all society, and this is criminal. Many of us extend our quotas until we have burned out. We choose overwhelm and all the badges of achievement that come with it. We are burning out and have lost our joy. We've lost our smiles. We've lost our ability to laugh with others and at ourselves. We've lost contentment. Even more, we're losing our lives. The signs that we are dying younger are staring us in the face. It's called hurry sickness. And yes, hurry sickness is actually a medical term added to our vocabulary in the 1950s by Dr. Meyer Friedman and Dr. Ray Rosenman. In their research, they coined the personality type A and concluded that type A behaviors double the risk of heart attacks and other related diseases. In this hypothesis, people who are competitive, highly organized, ambitious, impatient, highly aware of time management, or aggressive should be labeled as type A. And as I look at these descriptions, it's quite obvious that our society wants nothing more for a world full of type A's. Though all personality types die for whatever reason, young and old, we can't lose sight of the point. Rosenman and Friedman's original intent was to connect our physical health to how we respond to stress. Though many have tried to debunk their theory of stress exacerbating diseases, we are still here in the present day looking at a record-breaking epidemic of diseases plaguing our society. We are all suffering from rat race diseases. Our inability to heal is directly correlated to our inability to slow down, reduce chronic stress, and be content with our plot in life. I can only imagine how Friedman and Rosamond would respond to a world 70 years later where we insert even faster technology that has given us the ability to produce 24/7 and the inability to have a moment of silence from the deafening noise of the on-demand information overloaded culture. Stress is the number one contributor and underlying factor to the majority of diseases and causes of death in the United States. Friedman and Rosamond pegged this phenomenon way before their time. So much of our chronic stress comes from our poor relationship with work. And it's the 70% discontentment number that I keep coming back to. But here's the secret. It's not the actual work that's killing us, because work is a good thing. What's killing us is our approach to work. We have idolized time achievement. Most people call this productivity. But for the sake of this podcast, productivity is equivalent to time achievement. Obsession with time achievement is what causes hurry sickness that Friedman and Rosamond pegged. Diehard time achievers believe the American script that we must chase success, more wealth, and keep climbing until the age of 65. This script tells us to keep striving for more even when we are already tapped out. I raise my hand in humility that I bought this script. We've been sold a script that says we must chase comforts, luxuries, and healthy retirement accounts at all costs. At an early age, we're taught to compete, and then we are celebrated, validated, and elevated for achieving. The pursuit of achieving more continues all the way until retirement. Numeric terms such as 9 to 5, the 40-hour work week, punching the clock, burning the midnight oil, all become normalized as the way of life, the primary focus of life. I call this American script the pre-K to 401k trap. We are taught that time is money and we must trade in one for another. If we waste time, we are wasting money. And if we lose our value as a human, what we produce becomes our identity and thus our value. This is dangerous. And it's exasperating our mental health decline. When time equals money equals efficiency, aka the American model of success, this becomes a primary goal. It becomes our primary God of our lives. And it's no wonder we compromise our health and our families when we choose the latter over purpose, the latter over contentment. We choose achievement without a second thought of what obsession over achievement really cost us: our time. Our obsession with time achievement stresses us out so much that we actually believe that we never have enough time. Busy becomes the badge of honor. Busy keeps us out of trouble. But being busy without rest or relief gets us into more trouble. We've elevated something that will never satisfy us. The truth of the matter is to reduce our stress and overwhelm and burnout. And we must treat work as a form of service, not a formality of gaining success. Work is a way of loving others and is not about elevating ourselves. This is the key. We must realize all obsessions of time achievement and productivity to fully see our potential to live on purpose. How can we actually release our obsession with achievement but still remain ambitious? How can we work hard but not burn out? My advice to these questions is to stop counting as many things as possible. Steps, calories, weight, clients, likes, followers, retirement accounts, savings, and yes, even time. Counting can lead to excitement or disappointment. Counting is a source of stress and becomes highly addictive when unchecked. We must ignore the script that everything needs to scale or to grow. We set a goal, we get to it, and then the goalpost moves. The satisfaction is temporary. We set another goal, we don't reach it, we find disappointment. So what gives? Earlier this year, I tested this principle and released some of my conventional metrics in order to release my own obsession with achievement. I stopped counting calories, my weight, steps, the miles I was running, the hours I was working, and the hours I was sleeping. I got rid of a few apps, turned off some notifications, and even stopped setting my alarm to allow my body to adapt to a circadian rhythm. Though it hasn't all been perfect, by blinding myself with these numbers, or without the numbers, it's been fascinating to witness my contentment elevate and my stress levels deflate. I'm not alone in this time achievement paradigm shift. I read a book 2 years ago called Sacred Pace by Terry Looper, and he stumbled across the same epiphany. His conclusions were similar, and his advice was to slow down the pace of life to align ourselves with God's voice and His will. Terry Looper is a multimillionaire CEO of a prestigious oil company for nearly 40 years, and that company does not set business goals. The book is a mind-blowing blueprint that goes completely against the American script. So don't get me wrong. My advice is not to stop making goals. My advice is not to start being lazy with time. My advice is not giving permission to be bad with time. My advice is not to think success and achievement is bad. My advice is to dig deeper into how you respond to stress. How do you respond to time? Slow down, pause, and even stop to reflect on anything that is making you discontent and ask yourself, does my discontentment involve numbers, metrics, achievements or lack thereof, or even time? And if there's an association, ask yourself if you are a type A personality, and if you are, highly susceptible to hurry sickness. And as a reminder, hurry sickness is a sick feeling or fatigue where a person feels chronically short of time and tends to perform every task quickly and gets flustered when encountering a delay. That's hurry sickness. The antidote to hurry sickness is to release the outcome. Release the guilt and shame. Release the drive to do it all. Release the pride that I have to do everything by myself. When something doesn't go right or a goal is not met, release the voice that says, I'm a failure. Release it all because you are enough. This episode is brought to you by Own Your 5 to 9, an organization committed to freeing families of the rat race and burnout. Every organization has a leader, mission, and a set of values that drives the organization. But this is commonly missed in the most important organization in the world, the family. An organization has one mission for how it will impact the world. Why not the family? An organization goes into strategic planning routinely to align its values, mission, and projects. Why not the family? Whose Home, a strategic planning guide for families, is a workbook and a tool needed in all households. Whose Home takes a strategic planning approach with 10 guided exercises to define your core family values, family mission, and tools to operationalize how your family does life together. If your family is facing a big decision, Whose Home is for you. If you're considering a career pivot, Whose Home is also for you. If you desire more intentionality and harmony in your home, Whose Home is for you. Create a healthy culture, not a hustle culture, at home. Visit ownyour5to9.com to claim your copy today. Overwhelm is a real thing. We can easily get paralyzed by the troubles ahead and behind us. Our task list look like Mount Everest, and it seems impossible to climb daily. Our subconscious is screaming to achieve, because we are short on time. December adds even more weight to the overwhelm with the expectations of the season. The expectation of meeting end-of-the-year goals. The expectation of buying the perfect gift. The expectation of keeping up with every tradition. The expectation of wearing a smile when there is nothing but stress in our hearts. This time of year is the perfect snowstorm of time, money, and achievement. But we do not have to fall victim to the discontentment trap. Let's release the expectations of others and look internally and to God for our ultimate joy and fulfillment. Furthermore, as we face the new year in a couple weeks, we are going to be tempted to do it all again, to make grandiose goals, to be ultra energized to take on the world, and excited to go full steam on all of our goals. Nothing is wrong with ambition, but please be careful on measuring productivity. I just recently had the chance to work here in 2024 for the same individual who relieved me of my duties in 2009. This time, I worked extremely hard to make sure I would not be fired again for stealing time. This opportunity to redeem my reputation was an absolute gift. This time around was not about the compensation. It was about my commitment. And that commitment was to apply what I had learned to help a group of people in need with a skill set that I've been gifted with. If there is anything that I've learned through this full circle moment, it's that resumes capture what we have done. Reputation captures who we have become. This lesson isn't only past tense. In life, we always have a chance to redeem the resume and our reputation. When we fail at either, the opportunity to live and learn is right in front of us. It's one of the best lessons in life. The bank account, the titles, and the many achievements we measure in this world mean absolutely nothing if we lose our souls. I've created a manifesto for 2025 that I hope can be of some value to you. Instead of goals, these value statements are a reminder of how to spend time well. This manifesto is a downloadable version as well that I have available on ownyour5to9.com, and it's formatted to be able to use as bookmarks throughout the year. There's 12 statements in this manifesto. And if this 2025 manifesto is not your jam, I challenge you to make your own. The process is liberating. So here are the 12. Life is in the middle. Create more white space to live it fully. Every minute has a job, but that does not mean every minute has to make money. Small acts can always make a big difference. If we hitch our actions to outcomes, we do smaller things. If we hitch ourselves to our purpose, we will be doing godly things. Stress comes when we are too attached to outcomes. Release the results and live life with an open hand, heart, and mind. Find the right stroke instead of trying to swim through the ocean. Resumes capture what we have done. Reputation captures who we have become. Abiding instead of achieving is the best road to success. The elephant is eaten one bite at a time, and even then, the entire elephant is not meant to be the focus, nor to bite off more than what we can chew. Make plans, steward the plans, but hold all plans loosely. Don't equate value with productivity. And the last one is, the antidote to hurry sickness is to release the outcome. Release the guilt and shame. Release the drive to do it all. Release because you are enough. And lastly, let me leave you with a few reflecting questions. Where in my life am I overloaded, overcomplicating, overcommitting, overthinking, or overachieving? What can I do to start decluttering and releasing my attachment to things, numbers, or metrics of success? Where am I currently stealing time from someone else who may need more of it? And if I'm guilty of time embezzlement, what can I do to declutter my time thieves today? Hurry sickness is another word for chronic stress of being short of time. What is my standard response to being behind the 8 ball? What's my reaction to interruption, roadblocks, rush hour, a day of too many emails or meetings, or fill in the blank? How can I proactively get out in front of any timing conflict in my life? I hope you have a great week. Have a Merry Christmas, an amazing and safe New Year. Lord willing, I look forward to taking off with you again in 2025. Thank you for listening to the Work-Life Eubiosis podcast, part of the Work-Life resources created by Own Your 5 to 9. I hope that you have found encouragement and a few ideas to strengthen your journey to purpose, freedom, and balance. Have you overcome burnout and found a new way of life? Millions around the globe are still at the risk of burnout and losing it all. And your story may be the one that sparks not only a dream, but action. Visit ownyour5to9.com for more information and submit your story. While you're there, join the Work-Life Eubiosis newsletter and receive additional resources weekly right to your inbox. If you enjoy this podcast, take time to subscribe, rate, and leave a review. Share it with a friend or loved one. Remember, the most important organization in the world is the family. Let's do our part to strengthen it. Thank you for listening.